Welcome to our Dahua Technology webinar on the TEOC family. The TEOC is leading technology innovation for all. During this webinar, we're going to be looking at four things. We're going to be looking at the background and the context of the TEOC. We're going to be looking at the TEOC family, so what the family consists of and how it's evolved. I'm then going to hand over to Chris Flavell, our post-sales manager and training manager, to look on hands-on the tech, to show you the products, show them in action, kind of point out some of the key features and functionality of those products. And then finally, Chris is going to talk about some exciting new features that are available to you on the TEOC One and maybe some of the other products too. If there are any questions or opportunities that you want to discuss during this webinar, just click on the speech bubble on the screen on this kind of live link, and one of our team will be delighted to help you with your question. So let's move into some of the challenges. So why did we create the TEOC portfolio? So number one, there are typically no coloured details. So after a burglary, break-in or vandalism takes place, although there might be CCTV, there's limited or no colour information of a subject. The second challenge is typically in a standard CCTV deployment, there might be too many false alarms. These bring meaningless work to an alarm monitoring centre, sometimes as little as only 50 positive alarms in over 3,000. When you look at the volume of data that's being recorded and the level of time that might take, manually searching hours of video is seriously inefficient for whether it's the police, the end user, the customer, the managed service provider, or the ARC. It takes a long time to search that data. The other area is kind of slow response to alarms. So if your installation has a very long perimeter, or maybe even a kind of a medium perimeter, it's hard to stop the suspect from breaking in or responding in time, even when you've got a local security guard patrolling or you've got a CCTV system in place. And finally, although storage costs have come down, the price per gig of storage, has come down, obviously take into account some of the exchange rate challenges at the moment, the prices are still coming down. When you're looking to store days or weeks or even months of data, high quality streams of video information, that takes a lot of data. It could be terabytes, it may even be petabytes of data, and that delivers a very, very high storage cost. So why do we create the TEOC? Well, one, most crimes occur at night. There's no colour information at night and it's hard to identify suspects. According to the ONS survey, around 3/5, so 60% of domestic burglaries happen at night. There are too many false alarms for operators. Sometimes only 1% are actual alarms. Large estates are hard to patrol. It takes a long time for a guard to react. There's a large amount of data. It takes a long time to search. And there's a low search efficiency method typically deployed. And then finally, as I said, there's a high cost of video storage and a high bandwidth requirement. So what does the customer, require? Well, one, high quality information at night, good evidential quality recordings. Two, less false alarms to deliver a more meaningful response. Three, an automated response or proactive security solutions to be able to, for a guard or someone to kind of perform an action and disrupt something when it's taking place. More use of AI, delivering better search engines to trawl that large amount of data and pull on the right data at the right time to take an action. And then finally, an improved coding algorithm, a more efficient coding that I'll come on to in a few minutes' time, deliver reduced cost of storage and reduced bandwidth requirements. So what's our solution? No surprise, our solution is the TEOC, the 3-in-1 camera range. So the TEOC, the 3-in-1 camera, it includes one, full color. So full color, vivid, brighter detail, 24/7, 365 days a year. Two, active deterrent. So using visual deterrence as well as audio deterrence to deter an action before it's happened, when someone's kind of breaking in, when someone's breaking the perimeter, when someone's breaking a line, which we'll come on to in a few minutes. And then finally, artificial intelligence. So determining the difference between a kind of human and a vehicle, removing some of the environmental issues and considerations, like moving leaves, for example, that might trigger false alarms. And there's other areas of AI within the TIOC that I'll come on to a little bit later. So let's look at the TIOC family. So we have 4 areas of the TIOC family. We have the TIOC 1.0. The TIOC 1.0 we brought to the market 2.5 years ago, pretty much. It was a pioneer in the market at that time, and it continues to lead the market. It's still an incredibly feature-rich, fantastic product to meet many, many customer needs. The TIOC 2 brings in a few additional neat features. You pay a little bit more, you get the TIOC 2, and we'll come on to some of those additional features in a few minutes' time. And then a recent addition to the portfolio is the TIOC 2 varifocal camera. Currently in the bullet format, we also have, or will be bringing in the dome format over the coming months. And then finally, the TIOC PTZ is a 6-inch TIOC PTZ camera that we'll talk a little bit about. So that's a summary of the portfolio, the family. Let's look at each one in just a little bit more detail. Say the TIOC 1 camera. It was an industry pioneer when we launched it 2.5 years ago, and it still continues to lead the market. I think it's fair to say over 5-7 years that we've been in this market, there's been the challenge that maybe we've changed products, too quickly in the market. There's new things coming, every few weeks, every month or so. The TIOC 1 we brought to the market 2.5 years ago, and it's still a leader in the marketplace. It's still selling incredibly strongly in this market. And if you've not tried the TIOC 1 is a fantastic entry-level product in the 3-in-1 camera range. So the TIOC 1 brings in full color, active deterrence, and AI. It comes in 3 megapixel variants, 2, 5, and 8. It has an illumination distance of 20 meters with the 2.8 millimeter lens, 30 meter with a 3.6 millimeter lens, and 40 meters with the 6 millimeter lens. It has built-in 11 voice announcements by default, but also supports customized voice uploads. And you may have seen some videos out there on YouTube and social media with some people doing some pretty cool things using the TIOC with some of the customized voice uploads. So for example, kind of mask detection, which is something that with the TIOC can do with some customized firmware pretty much out of the box. The TIOC 1 has red and blue lights to release a strong warning signal. It has perimeter protection and SMD plus capability, so smart motion detection. So let's look at the TIOC 1 solution values. So 1, it delivers powerful industrial leading technology with a 3-in-1 solution. 2, it delivers full color monitoring, so 24/7 full color performance using, fantastic quality sensor and performance, and also the warm white light when the light levels drop below a certain level. It delivers active deterrent, so warning off intruders with enhanced 2-way audio and a red and blue light. It has deep learning based algorithms, which means the false alarm rate is less than 2%, and the target search efficiency is improved by 98%. And then finally, through the AI, it has AI coding, which saves significant disk space, so 90% lower bitrate than H.264. So let's look at each one briefly in turn. So on the 24/7 color, so it has a large aperture lens. So the maximum aperture is f1.0. That allows 2.5 times more light through compared with an f1.6. It has a high performance sensor which delivers 30% photosensitive capacity increase. It has an advanced ISP. It uses our ISP4 technology to deliver enhanced and great quality performance. And then finally with the warm light. So the warm light has a radiance 40% below the EU standards. Firsthand, I've seen this, performing, and it delivers great quality performance, visual performance, with minimal disruption for anyone around the camera, whether it's a domestic situation with neighbours, etc. So with active deterrence, so it has a red and blue light. So the red and blue light, why do we choose the red and blue light? Well, one, it associates itself with emergency services, but also it's more noticeable even in heavy fog and rainy weather. So it uses, the red light penetrates deepest compared with other lights. So with those atmospheric conditions, it really does kind of light up. You can see many videos out there where the red and blue light flashes, and it deters anyone from breaking the kind of perimeter or stopping a kind of an action being taken. So it's more eye-catching during daylight, dawn, or dusk. The second area of active deterrence is the audio active deterrence. Well, the TOC1 has a 110 dB plus speaker. It has an optimized structure within the body of the camera and the speaker to improve sound performance. Certainly in domestic situations or within kind of contained environments, it delivers a fantastic deterrent, certainly with the siren or any of the alerts. The second one is two-way talk, and we've got a short video here on two-way talk. So two-way talk means you get the alert through, you can engage through your DMSS app, and you can speak directly to the person that might be kind of in the perpetrator actually kind of breaking in or within your boundary or triggering one of the AI rules. So let's take a look at this quick video.
Two-way talk achieves voice intercom between monitoring centers and scenes, and effectively improving the management center's control over the monitored scene.
So the other area then is arm and disarming. So with the TOC1, you can do one key arm and disarm, and you can do arm and disarm by period. You can do this via the IP cameras webpage, you can do it via DMSS, or you can do it via the NVR, a neat feature. And then the final area is a kind of smart motion detection. Within the TOC1, we've got Smart Motion Detection 2.0. So this increases detection distance by over 185%. It reduces the false alarm rate to make sure that in the nighttime it's same as the daytime, less than 2%. Also with perimeter protection, using the AI and SMD, it filters out leaves, light and other disturbing objects. So the false alarm rate again is the same with the daytime, less than 2%. And then finally here, you've got quick target search. So based on human and vehicle classification, it can identify that and give you target search efficiency improved dramatically by 98%. And then with the AI coding, this means that using the coding within the TOC1, it delivers massive improvements in the efficiency of the bit rate and the storage required. How does it do that? Well, it uses AI to differentiate between the kind of moving kind of objects and the kind of background objects. So the coding is only for those things that need to be coded, not those things that don't. Delivers a 90% bit rate improvement compared with H.264. So let's quickly look at two of the solutions. So on the IP solution, you have our full color active deterrence AI IP cameras connected to an AI NVR, connected to DSS or via DMSS via the app. So you've got your DSS Express, you've got DMSS, you have your recorders there, so our 2000 series, our 4000 series, and you have our cameras, our TOC1 cameras. On the CVI side, very similar in terms of its topology. So you have the kind of full color active deterrence and HAC kind of range of cameras. You go to an AI XVR rather than NVR through to our DMSS and DSS. So slightly different topology, delivering similar consistent features between the two. So in terms of the application scenarios, you've probably seen a lot of these. You've probably already installed many kind of TIOC ones. If you haven't, as I said, you should try it. One scenario might be in a school or kind of a small enterprise park, where you're looking at the perimeter. The camera's looking at the wall through a tripwire. You can see people kind of coming into that field of view across the tripwire, trigger an event. Whether it's a sound alert, whether it's a visual alert, whether it's the two-way audio. Looking at domestic or apartment blocks, again, you can look at the garage, you can look at the fence area, you can look at your perimeter, and you can separate out some of those triggers that might be caused by animals, cats, birds, etc. So it's only picking up humans or vehicles within that perimeter. So the big advantages here are, one, you get colourful images 24/7. You've got that false alarm filter. You've got active deterrence within those scenarios, and you've got that app alarm push for the end user to see what's going on, to keep control, or for the monitoring centre. Or for anyone else that might want to see it, a security guard, etc. Certainly in the case of some of the enterprise parks or schools. If you look at another application scenario around kind of fire exits, where you want to make sure that the fire exit is always open, potentially cars go and kind of block that area, could be a lorry, etc. With that, you can use the TIOC One to look at that field of view, set up a tripwire. If it sees a vehicle, it sets an alarm. It sets a customized alarm saying, do not park here, or move a vehicle obstructing fire exit, or sound the siren, or flash the lights. Alert the driver of the vehicle they're in the wrong place, and also alert the end user or the security guard that there's a vehicle in the wrong place. And then finally, into the application scenarios, agriculture. And we are seeing more and more kind of agricultural deployments, especially where you've got high value assets, whether that's machinery being stolen or livestock being stolen. With the TIOC One, you can set that perimeter, you can trigger alerts, certainly using the red and white flashing light. It definitely does kind of deter intruders or kind of actions from happening before they happen. So similar advantages that we discussed before. So colourful monitoring, low false alarms, full colour, active deterrence, and the app alarm push. So that's TIOC One. So look, TIOC One was a fantastic product 2.5 years ago, and it still remains a fantastic product. And great news with regards to the TIOC One. We're doing a promotion with all of our Tier 1 authorized distributors and many of our selected dealers. If you buy 2 TIOC Ones, you'll get 1 for free. This is only while stocks last, so please take advantage of it. It won't be around for very long. Okay, that's it from me on the TIOC One. I want to hand over to Chris to talk through some of the additional features and functions and see the TIOC One in the flesh. Over to you, Chris.
Thank you, Michael, and once again to everybody joining, thank you for joining our webinar. If you're not aware of me, my name is Chris Flavell, and I'm the post-sales manager and dedicated trainer for Dahua Technology UK and Ireland, and I'm going to be showing you the technical side of our TIOC family. So we start with the TIOC One Bullet. So of course, as you can actually see on the actual TIOC One camera, we of course obviously have our lens, we have our red and blue flashing lights either side, and of course we got our white light illuminators. On the fly lead, we have alarm in and out. We also have the audio in and out RCA jacks. We've got the RJ45 connection with the adapter ready for the waterproof connector, and of course, obviously, a 12-volt DC jack. Okay. Now, of course, obviously, it is pioneering technology, and of course TIOC, this particular one here, and the actual 3 Series range, then of course in this case here, it was the first models that we deployed, especially in TIOC, that can actually do IVS and smart motion detection at exactly the same time. So you can deploy your smart motion detection to be able to study the field of view, classification of human and motor vehicle, but then you could also do tripwire and intrusion based on human and motor vehicle again. So of course you can reduce your false alarm rate upwards of 95%. And of course, since you've got smart motion detection and IVS, you've got various different playback searches that you can do. You can do quick filter search on the actual network video recorder. You can do smart search where you actually search a particular part of the field of view. And then of course you could just do an AI search and then select all of the humans. So of course in this case here, the product is in fact actually very good. This is in my 5 megapixel version. We also have 8 and we also have analog TIOC technology as well. So of course, as you can see on this one, light, siren, everything, and then of course it follows up with a BNC connection. Okay, so it's a good start, TIOC 1.
We've got a neat new feature using the TIOC 1 and the NVR5i. Chris pre-recorded a video just to share a little bit more about this, so I'm going to hand over to that now for you to take a look. We're really excited by it.
So what we're going to do today is we're going to show you a new concept. We're going to use the NVR5i artificial intelligent device with back-end face recognition and the TIOC camera. When we comprise these two devices together, we are going to create an access control solution. Okay, let me show you this concept that we've created here. So we've got the NVR5i there, we've got the TIOC camera here, and I have rigged up a super temporary connection, which is the 2-core going to the normally open, normally closed of the actual camera. So what I'm going to do, my face is in the database of this NVR-i. I will remove this sticker. It will then in fact actually recognize me, short out the actual camera's relay, and then of course that will tell this door to open. Currently, door is locked, so let's test. Perfect. As you can see, that worked very well, and of course obviously my face is in the database. Now Colin's face is not in the database, so I suspect whenever Colin comes into the field of view, we're going to have a completely different response. Let's take a look.
Colin, access denied. Colin, access denied.
Okay, with this new feature on the NVR-i and of course working with TIOC cameras, we can control access in certain environments within the building. I'm allowed through this door, Colin's not allowed through this door. If Colin was to just follow me in, then of course it will upset the TIOC cameras and of course the alarm will go off again. So then of course we are using an automation feature to control who should be allowed in this room.
Colin, access denied.
Okay, as you can see, that was a great solution.
So let's look now at the TIOC 2. So the TIOC 2 builds on that strength of the TIOC 1, so it extends Dahhua's market leadership in this area. So the TIOC 2 brings in smart dual illumination, so flexibly switching between full color and infrared. 2, it includes a feature called voice catcher. So this delivers longer pickup distance and less noise with your audio. It delivers a fantastic image, so f/1.0 aperture and 4K real time. It delivers one-touch disarming, which is convenient for operators and easier for integration. And then finally, it builds on SMD2 with SMD3, which delivers even better performance for smart motion detection. So let's just briefly look at each of these features. So in terms of smart dual illuminators, this is the most comprehensive illumination solution in the marketplace. So number one, it allows smart illumination by default. And smart illumination is switching between infrared mode and white light when a target is detected. So that's how it comes out of the box. You can set it to infrared mode, so only infrared is illuminated on the scene, and white light, supplementary light, is not required. So just go with kind of infrared. Or you can go with white light only, so only white light will turn on, and it's suitable for scenes that require full and vibrant color footage 24/7, 365. So there's 3 quick videos here with the 3 different illuminations to meet all your application scenarios. So on the left-hand side, and we'll look at this now, so smart illumination. So this video shows a scene with infrared when a target moves into the field of view, the full color comes on. So let's look at this video now. Okay, so that was smart illumination. The next one is infrared mode. So in this scene, as you can see, you've got a target walking into the field of view, but it maintains infrared. So it maintains a black and white image throughout the scene. And then the final one is white light. So this is permanent white light on, whether someone's moving into the scene or not. So you get 24/7, 365 color images, all the time. Okay, so the second area then is the voice capture technology. So this is a neat feature. The TIOC One has great audio pickup. It's got great audio delivery. Voice capture builds on that capability, and it uses a thing called a dual microphone array. So number one, it has a high sensitive dual mic array, which enables longer pickup distances. Two, it's got a newly designed audio acquisition circuit, which delivers enhanced performance. And then finally, we have got our self-developed noise reduction algorithm that improves the performance. And with the high performance SoC, we deliver further noise reduction optimization. So using the array, using the audio acquisition circuit, and our noise reduction algorithm together, those three things combined enable purer sound over a further distance, over a wider distance. This is just an example. So on the single mic, as you can see, you've got quite high noise. You've got a lot of wind noise. You might have some kind of background noise. That affects the sound quality. You might still hear what's going on, but it might not be as easy to differentiate. And certainly for evidential recordings, you'll pick up audio, which is a fantastic feature, but you might not pick up all of the audio and differentiate what's going on, or the voice, or the speech. With the dual mic array, it effectively counters the wind noise and some of the other atmospheric conditions. It filters those out to enable a much longer pickup distance, as you can see on the chart on the right-hand side. So the other feature here within the TIOC 2 is the low light performance. So we talked about infrared, we talk about full color. So you've got those two sensors within the camera. We include a capability called OPC, which is optical path compensation technology. This corrects the angle of refraction of different light rays. So when you look at the two sensors, infrared and visual, they come in at slightly different angles, which means you might get a slight kind of blurring, as you can see on the left-hand image here. So the details of the tree are slightly fuzzy. The edges of the pictures are dark. With OPC, it brings all of the infrared and the visible light into the same focal plane. And that enables a clearer, crisper, detailed image, and also the whole of the image, so the edges of the pictures are brighter than a camera which might not have OPC. The other area is one-touch disarming. So one-touch disarming by the alarm in port is a feature of the TIOC 2, and so that means it'd be connected to a traditional alarm system to achieve arming or disarming. This uses the existing system for alarm linkage and control, giving a better user experience. Smart Motion Detection 3 is an additional feature for TIOC 2. This enables one, even smaller, reduced false alarm, so down to kind of less than 1% false alarm rate. It gives longer detection distance for people or vehicles, sometimes by as much as 50%, as you can see here on the detection distances of SMD+, so SMD2, or SMD3 on the right-hand side. And then finally, with SMD3, you get a higher detection accuracy. Because it's got upgraded AI capabilities, the maximum detection accuracy for a human and vehicle can reach up to 99%, so almost double the accuracy. So let's look at the cameras. So you've got the TIOC2, the 5 megapixel or 8 megapixel. So you have the bullet or the turret form factors. They have smart dual illuminators, red, blue light active deterrents, the built-in mic and speaker. They've got full color monitoring, maximum 30 meter with a warm light. They've got infrared distance, maximum of 30 meters too. They incorporate SMD3, they deliver perimeter protection. And the same as the TIOC1, they come with 11 pre-recorded announcements or customized recording. Okay, and now over to Chris Ravel to talk you through the TIOC2.
Thank you, Michael. Very informative. So yes, we of course obviously now have the TIOC2. Like TIOC1, we of course obviously still have the alarm input and output, the RCA jacks for audio in and out. We've got the RJ45 connection and of course the 12 volt DC. Now this is my 5 megapixel version of the TIOC2, and of course in this case here we do have a few different features. This camera, like Michael said, has smart illumination. So of course this is the smart illuminator here, and of course what the illuminator will do is it will put out to the field of view infrared, and if a human was to come into the field of view, then of course it will instantaneously turn to white light. And of course in this case for this product it is instant. Other products on the market will not be able to in fact actually go from a grey to monochrome image to a white light illumination so quickly. You know, it would probably take 3 or 4 seconds for the actual camera to adjust the IR cut filter. In this case here, we can in fact actually do it with TIOC2 in less than a second. Okay, now the actual camera is also incredibly feature rich. So of course we've got our smart motion detection, we have our IVS, and of course on the IVS for this particular model, the TIOC2s, then of course they also have inside detection, which is also what we refer to as loitering detection. You can set up a rule, and of course let's say if you go based on human, and of course like it's more than 10 seconds or 15 seconds, a person could go into that box, they haven't left, then the alarm will go off. The actual red and blue is also mounted on the actual front, and of course it is very easy to see whenever that has been triggered. It illuminates the whole field of view incredibly well, and then of course we have 5 megapixels and 8 megapixels. So of course the products are very well built. They also support the SD card for onboard recording, and of course very feature rich. So TIOC2.
So that's the TIOC2. Now let's look at the TIOC2 varifocal camera. So this extends our market leadership even more. So the TIOC2 varifocal, currently in the market we have the Bullet. We also have a Dome, which will be coming to the UK hopefully pretty soon. And if you do see demand or interest in this, then we can try and accelerate their introduction into the market. So one, the TIOC2 varifocal brings in a few different things. One, it's got 4, 5, 8 megapixel progressive CMOS. Works in minimum illumination of very, very small kind of lux levels. It's got a focal length of between 2.7 millimeters to 13.5 millimeters, which gives you that significant kind of extended kind of detection distance and focus at varying different levels. It gives a maximum illumination distance of 50 meters rather than 30 meters with the TIOC2 fixed lens and 20 meters with the TIOC1. It has built-in dual mics and speakers as the other cameras, and it delivers 25 to 30 frames per second real-time monitoring. And it delivers 120 dB wide dynamic range for a crisp, clear image. It also introduces some brand new features into the TIOC range. So one, there's Web 5.0 with a new user interface and a new user experience. It also brings in white light detection area and also real 5 megapixel 16.9 images. Some typical scenarios for this might be a garage or a river path. So let's look at some of those kind of neat new features. So on the varifocal, you've got Web 5.0. So this presents an internet-based and lightweight UA design with different customized skin modes that improves or reduces the user's visual fatigue. And you can customize this interface depending on your preference. So it's a neat new feature. The second area is white light detection. So with this, you can set a rule area. So when an object moves into the field of view, the white light may not come on. And it will come on based on you setting the rule area. So you create the rule area, the object moves into your field of view. When that object moves into your rule area, the white light comes on, or or an alarm is triggered, etc. So that could be the kind of red and white light. It could be an alarm siren. It could be your two-way voice. But for this is the white light detection area. You've then got our real 16:9 5-megapixel. This is the technology we brought in a little bit ago, but it's now there within the TIOC varifocal. So on the 5-megapixel, you get a 16:9 aspect ratio, which means you get an accurate representation on a 16:9 5-megapixel screen. So let's look at a bit of a kind of a product comparison across the TIOC 2, the TIOC 1, and the competitor, or a kind of competitor's product. So in resolution, we come in 8, 5, and in the TIOC 1, 8, 5, and 2 megapixel. Competitor product, 4 megapixel. On the fill light, the white light, on the TIOC 1, it's up to 30 meters. On the TIOC 2, you've got 30 meter warm light, you've got 30 meter infrared light, and you've also got smart dual illumination. And with the competitor product, just up to 30 meters of white light. On the active deterrent, you've got a red-blue strobe light and a built-in speaker on both the 1 and the 2. With the competitor product, it's just a white strobe light, and there's a lower dB built-in speaker. On the TIOC 1 and the TIOC 2, you've got smart motion detection as well as perimeter protection. Competitor product, just perimeter protection. And then finally, AI coding, which, as hopefully you remember in terms of the slide earlier, makes a dramatic difference in the amount of storage capacity required for the bit rates and the quality of image you're presenting to the NVR and to the hard drive. With the TIOC 1 and the TIOC 2, you've got AI coding. With the competitor product, you haven't. And now over to Chris to talk a little bit more about the TIOC 2 varifocal.
Excellent, thanks Mike. Now, in this case here, I have the TIOC 2 varifocal camera, and this is my 5-megapixel version. You can see from TIOC 2 that the actual red and blue lights actually are mounted at the top of the lens, and of course white light and infrared on the bottom. We've got those 2 microphones again to in fact actually increase the audio, and of course obviously with that new audio feature as well, so even better. Now, the good thing about the actual varifocal technology is to be able to increase that pixelation for your events. So of course, smart motion detection is all based on how many pixels are captured that looks like a human for it to then in fact actually event. So of course, like if you were to be able to zoom in to increase your actual pixel count of a human in the field of view, then of course you can look further and of course target further. So of course our average camera will go up to maybe 50 or 60 meters. Smart motion detection has been tested up to about 60, 70 or 80 meters, but you could push those limits even more so with a TIOC varifocal camera, because you can zoom all the way in, and then of course if you were to increase the actual pixels captured of a human-like structure, then of course smart motion detection and intrusion detection will fire. So of course with this said here, then of course we can once again use smart motion detection to reduce those false alarms, but this time we can do it at a greater distance. And that's the best part about TIOC 2 varifocal.
So the final product in the TIOC family is the TIOC PTZ, so the TIOC pan tilt zoom camera. It's got the highest performance in the market inside out. So this is part of our 6-inch range of PTZs. If you've not seen it, you should take a look at it. It's a 6-inch PTZ. It pans 360 degrees. It tilts -20 to -90. It's got a 25 times zoom. It's 4 megapixel. It's got smart dual illuminators. It has the red, blue light active deterrence. It's got a built-in speaker, full color monitoring up to 50 meters of warm light distance, and the infrared has a whopping 150 meters of distance. It incorporates smart motion detection 3.0. It has face detection and also perimeter protection. It's an amazing PTZ camera. It provides a fantastic visual deterrent in place, both in the daytime and also nighttime. Why are we so excited about our PTZ cameras? Well, our TIOC PTZ, the quality of the product is second to none, both in terms of the technology, but also the build quality. And for us, it's about quality without compromise. All of our PTZs, including our TIOC PTZ, go through a number of kind of rich quality tests to ensure that you receive a fantastic product that you're proud to put in front of your customers and to sit there with your customers for months and years. They go through vibration tests, water immersion tests, temperature tests, and package drop tests. The second area is the components. So there are hidden things within a PTZ that you might not even think about, whether it's the belt material and the risk of slippage, or the belt breaking. Also the torque between the kind of belt and the spindle and the motors. And then the slip ring assembly. All key components within a PTZ which need to be resilient, strong, and capable to ensure consistent quality. For us, we always deliver long-term stability tests for our PTZ. So every time we've got a new mechanical design, we allocate 20 units for long-term stability testing. And here's an image of PTZs on top of HQ building, all going through those long duration, long-term stability tests. So why is this important? And I'll come to the financials in a second, but it delivers industry-leading reliability. So the slip ring assembly, it's quite a simple thing, but the industry average for a slip ring kind of movement is around 2 million movements before breakage. With Dahua, with the new technology, with the investment in our R&D, we're now delivering over 3.5 million times of kind of movement on that slip ring. On the motor and belt system, the industry average is around 6 million times of kind of movement, so 6 million cycles for a PTZ. With the Dahua technology, with the new belt design, with that torque testing, we can deliver 20 million times. That's a massive increase on the industry average. And then the twisted cable, so very, very basic capability, but changing the material and the fixings within it. The industry average is around 6 million times the kind of movement on that twisted cable. And for Dahua, 25 million times. Now, why does that make a difference? Why is it so important? Well, look, when something goes wrong, and sometimes things go wrong, you've got to prepare a replacement camera. You've got to arrange permits and a potential road closure. You've got to arrange access equipment if it's needed. You need to replace the faulty camera. You need to return the damaged camera back to the manufacturer, and then you need to repeat if required. Each of these things has a cost. What does that cost? Well, getting the replacement camera costs you. Arranging permits can vary dramatically depending on the council or where you're changing it. For access equipment, if you're lucky enough to have a cherry picker or something, that's great, but many don't. So therefore, hiring one to access can be incredibly expensive. Replacing the faulty camera can be expensive. So why is it important? You really do not want to revisit sites multiple times to replace a damaged or faulty camera, which is why we invest in the quality of the features, functionality, not just the AI, but the physical infrastructure of a pan-tilt zoom camera. And now over to Chris to talk a little bit more about the TIOC PTZ.
Okay, thanks Mike. Right. The TIOC PTZ, incredibly feature rich. Now, as you can see from the front here, we actually have various different illuminators on the front. We've actually got 4 sets of infrared. So of course, the top one is infrared, the bottom one is infrared, but that one is also shared with the white light illuminator. And of course, the next 2 are in fact actually the red and blue in the event of a trigger. Now, we also got our light sensor on the front, and of course we also have that siren at the bottom of the TIOC PTZ. But of course the best part about a TIOC PTZ is not only do you have the ability to break from infrared to white light illumination instantaneously, and then of course obviously the red and blue in the event that a trigger has been sound, but most importantly, Auto tracking. SD6 TIOC PTZ has built-in auto tracking technology. So of course, if that human did breach the actual area, then of course not only would it in fact actually illuminate the scene, but it would also follow that person until they leave the FOV. So of course, with that said, that gives this a massive opportunity for those unmanned facilities, because in this case here, it's still opposed to man guarding solutions, you could just let the PTZ do all the work. TIOC PTZ, I have a TIOC PTZ. TIOC PTZ is incredibly feature rich. Okay, that concludes the technical side of things. So thank you for tuning in to our today's webinar. It's been great. And of course, I hope to see you again very soon for the next one. Okay, all the best.
Just to summarize the TIOC family. So one, the TIOC 1 is the pioneer and still a leader in the market. The TIOC 2 extended that leadership with extended additional value-added features. The TIOC Varifocal, newly released to the market, delivers extended reach for installation flexibility. And for the TIOC PTZ, Dahua have been a leader in the PTZ market for some time, and it builds on that PTZ leadership. And I've just included here some of the trade prices for the bullet versions of some of these example cameras, just to give you an idea of some of the price points. So the TIOC 1, £122 trade price. The TIOC 2, around about 18 to 20% more expensive at 144. The Varifocal, around about 35% more expensive, you know, again against the TIOC 2, and the TIOC PTZ 572. And as I mentioned earlier, and I mentioned again, we have a fantastic kind of offer. We want to experience the TIOC family of products. And the TIOC 1, if you buy 2, you get 1 free through our authorized distributors and selected dealers. So yeah, please make use of that. It won't be around for that long. So thank you very much for your time. If there are any questions, then please ask them through the chat function. And we look forward to welcoming you again to a future webinar on an exciting topic with Dahua Technology. I'm Michael Lawrence, Marketing Director at Dahua Technology, and thank you for your time.